Hey, good evening, guys. We'll let some folks join in here, and I'm going to get started on an update. Do me a favor and share this on your pages. Share it with a friend. And we'll get going. Okay. Well, good evening, and thanks for logging on here wherever you might be, whether it's Facebook, X, YouTube, wherever you're at watching live tonight. We will talk about what we're seeing and the risks here. Nasty trends here on radar this evening with the development of this storm cluster. If you've been following along now on YouTube for the last couple of days, I've talked about this for the past 2 days. This should not be coming as a complete surprise to you, but I will go over the latest with you right now. I'm going to go over here to our regional radar product, our Clarity radar product, and show you the evolution here of this storm cluster. And it is dropping several warnings already now into the state of Indiana, including an observed tornado report. And I'm going to get right into kind of that risk there now, okay, or kind of monitor that right now and go over that with you. So again, this is these derechos, if you will, these long clusters of storms. It extends over 250 miles, both in length and in distance traveled, producing multiple severe weather reports. This will be along and south of I-70 across portions of southern Indiana and Kentucky, and getting into eventually northern Tennessee. The area at risk tonight here is certainly going to be that area just discussed. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share my screen with you on our radar platform and go over that with you. Okay, right now there is down here across southern Indiana, we do have an observed tornado being reported now. This one right here says observed tornado, and that is in eastern or southwestern Indiana there, just east of Fort Branch, getting into, looks like just west of Huntingburg. I'm going to do a split panel here so you can see kind of what it is I'm talking about. And again, you can see where that possible tornado would be occurring, that observed tornado. There's warnings everywhere. So I apologize. There's a lot going on here. Go right here to observe. That's for the next 34 minutes. This is where the rotation would be occurring, right in through here. Okay, you can kind of see where it's go a little bit closer here, where it's kind of doing this. All right, new tornado warning now has just come out on the north side of this. Let me zoom out a little bit, and that is going to go in a radar indicated tornado just west of Jasper here. So several tornado warnings now coming out. This particular tornado warning is going to go for northeastern Gibson County in southwestern Indiana and Pike County in southwestern Indiana. That's going to go until 9:30 Eastern or Central Time, 10:30 Eastern Time. We've got a thunderstorm capable of producing both tornadoes and extensive straight line wind damage. When we look at this storm as it may be entering into Petersburg and Oakland City, the types of wind readings we're getting out of radar right now are 100 mile per hour wind gusts. Up along as we travel along this line, 69, 70 mile per hour winds. Getting up here closer to Petersburg, 63 mile per hour winds. The leading edge of this, as you can see, just absolutely nasty wind gusts here. Right now, the most dangerous part of this storm, where we do have observed tornado verbiage here in the warning, is just west of Somerville, Mackey, Buckskin, Indiana. 105 mile per hour winds being indicated there on radar. And again, you can see where this would be rotating as we're kind of coming here and working our way back in. These bookend vortices, or these kind of embedded rotations ahead of these lines are going to likely be rain wrapped. You can see here on the returns where that would be happening as well, where you see that inflow notch and the rotation coming around it. So again, just a nasty signal here. I got a new scan coming in now. That scan is a little bit better, but nonetheless, the concern here is the speed at which these are moving. These are moving east at 50 miles per hour, so they're moving very quickly. Here's another new tornado warning now that has just been issued here across Indiana. This is going to include Washington, Indiana, Wheatland, Monroe City. This is going to go for the next 32 minutes, a radar indicated tornado warning. This thing right here is for central Knox County in southwestern Indiana and central Davies County until 10:30. At 9:57, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing tornadoes was located 8 miles northwest of Petersburg, moving northeast at 65 miles per hour. This storm is screaming. And again, you can see right where that rotation would be just south and west of Monroe City. Moving northeast at 65 miles per hour, this new tornado warning will time out the path of it here. I'm going to go to a cellular mode storm track, and I want to time out the rotation for you, where the storm is rotating. Again, moving northeast at 65 miles per hour. It is going to be in Washington at 10:13. Just Monroe City here in about 4 minutes, getting into a little ahead of Washington into Graham, Montgomery, 10:18, and Cannelberg around 10:20. So this storm is ripping northeast. It's moving very, very quickly. If you are in the path of this storm, you need to seek shelter right away. The wind profiles coming out of this storm are very concerning. I'm getting, again, 95 mile per hour winds just south of Monroe City, just northwest of Petersburg. I'm also getting a very nasty signature once again, still here across just southwest of Somerville, Indiana, of 100 mile per hour winds just north of Mackay, Indiana. This particular storm, too, I want to make sure we continue to talk about that one. This storm is moving east at 60 miles per hour. I do want to time that out for you as well. Let me get this off the screen here. There's just so many warnings going on right now, and I want to time this one out for you. There's another new tornado warning for Jasper, Indiana. We got tornado warnings all over the place right now. I tell you what, if you are ahead of this, if you're in southwestern Indiana, Washington, Jasper, Petersburg, Huntingburg, Oakland City, you need to be in shelter. This thing is racing northeast, and it is not messing around. This is a nasty situation down here with multiple tornado warned storms. And again, I can't respond to your comments right now. If you've got friends or family that are in southwestern Indiana, tag them, share this, and let them know that this is a nasty line of thunderstorms, the beginning stages or the mature stages now of a derecho that is moving through. And this is going to absolutely be possibly leaving us in the wake of some devastating damage with this as this storm continues to work off to the east. So we do not want to mess around with these warnings. I want to get back to radar here. And again, I want to time this one out for you, this observed warning. Now I have another observed tornado warning. Stand by. I need to go over here. This storm now in Washington, Indiana, the one we were just tracking out, is now also an observed tornado. They've just changed the status of that. So again, if you're in Washington, Indiana, this is now an observed tornado. There have been reports of the tornado actually happening. I want to go and click on the verbiage here. Tornado warning remains in effect. At 10:01, a confirmed tornado was located 7 miles northwest of Petersburg, moving northeast at 65 miles per hour. If you're in Washington, Indiana, you've got to be in shelter right now. Do not mess around with this thing. It's an observed tornado. Here is, I'm going to time out the center of rotation as it moves northeast at 65 miles per hour. Washington, that's 10:11. that means you essentially have an 8-minute lead time to get into shelter. Montgomery, Wheatland, Monroe City, 8-minute lead time to get into shelter. If that, you need to be in shelter right now. Observe tornado. This is a nasty signal on radar. Again, I'm watching right here for the core of that rotation. Nasty, nasty signal. You have inbound winds at 100 miles per hour, a gate-to-gate shear probably about 150 miles per hour here. This is a nasty, nasty signal. Do not mess around if you are in the path of this storm as it is headed your way. All right. Try not to take this verbiage too often. I try not to freak people out, but this is one of those situations where if you are ahead of this, you need to be in shelter. All right. And you don't need to be screwing around with this storm, looking outside. It's dark, it's rain wrapped, and this is a very strong tornado signature on radar. Don't mess around with this. Get in shelter, keep your phone on, watch the stream if you can, try to keep it plugged in. Okay. Let me get my bearings here. The storm that is in southwest Indiana, let's see, that's still an observed tornado. We're going to go down here and get a new reading on this particular storm. It's still showing up as observed. The signal is not as impressive. It's still nasty. Don't get me wrong here. We're going to go here, and I'm going to take it east at 65 miles per hour. And again, that's kind of the center. There's a lot of notches along this line. You could even argue we might have some rotation here, again here, up into here, wherever you see these little notches. See these little notches right here. This can be quick spin ups of tornadoes, quick QLCS type tornado that's rain wrapped and very difficult, if not impossible, to see, other than you just know it's hitting you in the path of this storm. All right, in the path of this storm right now, the one that is still an observed tornado. Hartwell 1012, Pikeville 1016, Huntingburg. If we get out into Huntingburg 1023, that's less than 20 minutes away. There's 6,800 of you in the path of this storm, and it is not messing around. In fact, that latest scan is still a pretty nasty one as well. Even further down south here, real quick, guys. Actually, here's a new velocity scan. I want to see that come in. It's a little bit more of an encouraging scan, but still nonetheless, this is a really, really nasty line of storms moving east. Jasper, you've got some good lead time here to get into your safe place. I want to go back to this storm up here real quick that's getting into Washington right now, continuing to see a strong rotation signal. Washington, you're dealing with it within the next minute or two. If you're not in shelter in Washington, you're in trouble. Get into shelter now. Do not mess around with this. I want to dive south real quick down here into Kentucky near Madisonville. This purple and black dashed line you see is a tornado emergency with catastrophic damage. This is basically indicating a confirmed large and destructive tornado was observed near Dawn Springs, moving east at 30 miles per hour. This storm here down in Kentucky, moving through Earlington and just north of Nortonville, nasty signature as it continues to move east. This is absolutely a rain-wrapped tornado. There's no way you're going to be able to see this one either. Okay, so we have got a lot going on right now with warnings. I want to go back into Indiana real quick and put this into motion for you and just kind of show you the overall loop here of where these storms are moving. Okay. What you're noticing here is there's some warm air advection working in. You're ushering in thunderstorms down to the south. I think the cutoff here for really, really intense thunderstorms is probably going to be right here and point south. I'm not saying that there cannot be severe thunderstorms here, because there can be. The most intense of this right now is certainly down here across southwestern Indiana. Okay. So that's my point is that there's going to be a cutoff in severity, heavy rains nonetheless. But the most dangerous part of this right now is absolutely in southwest Indiana and that lone supercell out there in western Kentucky, ahead of this main line. So busy radar here this evening. I'll go over here to the stream and see if there's any updates. Again, guys, for those of you watching, it's pretty much impossible for me to answer your questions right now. Best I can do is continue to give you live radar coverage and update you on the areas that are most critical, in my opinion, on needing the updates as it pertains to literally your life here and your property. So we're going to continue to kind of update you in the seriousness of the situations, and you're going to have to do your best to see where you're at on the map and see where the thunderstorm is coming. I can't answer individual questions. All right. So just FYI, um, if you are still at the IMS in the parking lots there, um, we are looking at in the arrival of thunderstorms in the area in probably about an hour. So if you're at IMS, we're watching this work off to the north, and we would think that there'd be rain and thunderstorms in the area probably in about an hour here across the Indy metro area. So just an FYI, if you're seeing lightning to the south, just so you know, it's not heat lightning, because heat lightning doesn't exist, by the way. It's actually lightning from a thunderstorm, and it is moving in. So just FYI there. Okay. Now, let's get back to Southern Indiana and the coverage of this. I want to go back down here to Southwest Indiana, where we do have, again, multiple tornado warnings in effect. This tornado down here now in Washington has been downgraded. It's no longer a tornado observed. It's still a tornado warning. Nonetheless, if you're in Washington, you should be in shelter. That's going to continue to go for the next 20 minutes. All right. And again, despite whether or not you would even see a tornado, the wind with this, and I think there's possibly a tornado here still going up and down, or at least a big lowering and some very intense winds here in Washington, Indiana right now. Even if you don't get a tornado, some of these returns on radar for winds are 80 to 90 miles per hour. They're just south of Washington's 100 mile per hour indication on radar. If that's hitting the ground, there is likely significant straight line wind damage, if not tornado damage, down there right now. And again, that is all along where you're seeing all these bright yellows, all along this line of storms here in Southern Indiana, from Linton, Indiana, down to Washington, over to just west of Jasper. Okay. So these are going to continue to work off to the east with a Okay, I lost power, but luckily backup power generator at my house. So internet is back and we're back up and running. I will be able to stay live here as long as the generator doesn't go out, which that shouldn't happen. So um, just want to make sure real quick. I want to check the quality of my stream. If you all are on now, could you comment and let me know that I have power or that I know I have power, or that you can hear me on the stream real quick here. I just want to make sure that I'm back on and good to go. So as soon as I get confirmation from you guys, I will get back at it here. I don't know if I'm live on YouTube. Okay, I'm back. Great. Thank you. Awesome, guys. It's going to be a long night. Listen, here's the deal right now. These thunderstorms, these derechos, what they do is anywhere they go, okay, anywhere they go, they are affecting the power grid. They are 70, 80, 90 mile per hour winds all the way up and down the entire power grid. And it is going to wreak havoc on the power grid tonight. It's a bona fide, legit derecho right now. It's blowing stuff over and it's nasty. So if you have power right now south of Interstate 70, consider yourself lucky. If you don't, you might lose it. So make sure your stuff's plugged in, make sure your stuff's charged, tag a friend, regardless of if you get a thunderstorm or not. It doesn't even have to be raining for you to lose power. So just FYI, okay. All right. I'm going to get back to radar updates, okay? Get you guys an update on what's going down. Let's get back to the radar right now. Okay, I want to make sure I have, let's see here. I just want to make sure I'm good with sound. I want to make sure you guys can hear me. Let's see here. I just want to make sure yep, okay. Sorry, it's when I lose connection like that, I just have to check everything. So let's get back to business here. This is a new, very large severe thunderstorm warning that covers a lot. In fact, about 7 or 8 counties. I'm going to go over that. Considerable wind damage being possible. That 70 mile per hour winds out of this. This whole cluster, this whole line of storms moving to the northeast. I want to read this to you. Vigo County, Monroe County, Morgan County, Sullivan County, Brown County, Knox County, Clay County, Owen County, Martin County, Lawrence County, Greene County, Davies County. This is one of the bigger severe thunderstorm warnings I can remember. Until 11 p.m., a severe thunderstorm along a line extending 8 miles northwest of Sullivan to Linton to Washington, moving east at 60 miles per hour. 60 miles per hour with 70 mile per hour wind gusts being possible. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to time this out for you so you can see where this is going. Remember, I cannot answer comments right now. I'm just going to give you the updates and do the best I can. All right. So I'm going to extend this way here, and we are going to time this out. Come on now. And I'm telling you, I'm going to time it out, and it's not letting me here. Well, it's giving me fits, guys. There we go. There's a 60 mile per hour look at that as it's going east. So let's get some cities out ahead of this. Bloomfield 1022, Worthington 1025, Crane 1028. And this is where we're targeting some of the most intense winds. All right. Arnie, Indiana 1033. Let's see. Freedom 1033, Owensburg 1035. Let's go over here towards Fayetteville, 1043. Trying to look and see if we have Bloomington in the mix, 1045 into Bloomington. Let's see. Bedford, 1048. Hopefully you guys are getting the idea right now of when some of this is going to impact you. All right. So my storm tool is being a little silly right now. I'm going to have to come back to that. Let's pull this out here and get a view of just what we're dealing with right now. I'm going to go over to regional radar just so you guys can see this and get a look at the overall picture here. I'm going to take the warnings off on this radar just so you can see what it is that the whole movement and evolution of this. I'll turn the screen sharing off and go over here to clarity. And again, here is we're going to go here, and I'll turn this off for you to turn the warnings off. But this is this whole line of storms. Now, as I'm talking about how it's impacting so many areas, because it's all the way from Poplar Bluff to Paducah to Owensboro through Jasper, Washington, all the way up into just west of Bloomington. So it's covering a very, very large area, and it's affecting the power grid on a large scale. So that is why some of you are like, it's not even raining at my house and I don't have power. Well, I know, and that's because of this right here. This is the power outage map. You can see all the people affected right now. Just in Southwest Indiana, 16,300 people are without power. But we have more of that's going to start popping up. Johnson County REMC is not reporting power outages yet, but we are on backup power here. So this will start to work its way in and update as more of this information comes in for us as the power is again being affected here. So let's go back to radar here, and I'll show you the latest. Go over here to radar Omega, and here is a new tornado warning. We're going to zoom down on this and take a look. Okay, we'll go to multiple panels here. Okay, and this is again what we're looking at is getting into Odin, Indiana. This tornado warning for the next 24 minutes is a radar indicated tornado. It's for northeastern Knox County, northern Martin County, southeastern Greene County, and northeastern Davies County. That's going to go until 10:45 tonight. Okay. At 10:20, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located 13 miles north of Washington or 24 miles northeast of Vincennes. It's moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. I'm going to time out for you the area I'm most concerned with right now, and that is right here, the center of rotation, and we're going to time that out for you. Again, this storm is moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. We're going to go down here and get a zoom in on these cities. You have places like Crane. Well, let's go to Odin first, 10:29. Crane, Indiana, 10:35. Owensburg at 10:46. A relatively lower populated area of the state, especially the Crane Naval Base down there. But nonetheless, 2,200 people in the path of this tornado warning. And this is a nasty signal yet again, as it's moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. We're watching, there's a new scan right there. That's a little bit better scan, a little bit, but there's a couple of notches here. All right, I'm going to go back to black. But you can see where I'm seeing overall the rotation. There's probably multiple areas of this rotating, which is just crazy. If you're anywhere in this warning, yeah, there's the new scan. That's definitely solid rotation right there. In between Elnora, Odin, Indiana, going into Crane. If you're in Crane, if you know anyone in the area, which there's not a lot of people in the area, but if you are in and around the area, just north of Burns City, you need to be taking shelter. All right, the naval support activity down just down to the south and east right there. You need to be in your safe place. All right, there's no question about it. You look at the winds that the radar is estimating on the inbound side of this. All right, let's go over here. We've got 68 mile per hour on the inbound, and about 35 mile per hour on the outbound. Just again, a nasty wind coming in there. So that tornado warning there. Let's go down to the south, get a check in here on this particular tornado warning. This one here that we're watching just past Washington. I'm liking the signal here. I'm not seeing a big rotation signal, nonetheless, an absolutely insane wind signal. So you're probably still seeing a bunch of straight line winds there, but nonetheless, you're at least seeing a little bit less in the way of a signal for a tornado, at least for the time being. We'll go down here into Jasper, Indiana. This tornado warning at Jasper and Huntingburg. Again, I'm seeing a little bit less organization in that particular part of the storm. That tornado warning is going to go for another 21 minutes. So if you are in this area, if you're basically in Du Bois County in central Indiana, south central Indiana, until 10:45, you need to be in a safe place. Regardless of if there's a tornado or not, there's a nasty line of straight line winds, a nasty area of wind coming in. Where is all this going, right? So here it is right now. Let's put this into motion. And you can kind of see where this stuff is generally moving, all right? This area right here, you can kind of see the north end of this, probably going to come right through here. And of course, you have this southern piece too, where these two pieces are kind of colliding. That's an interesting component to this. This is also having a little bit of a northeastern kick to it. It's almost like it's trying to disconnect from the southern piece and get into its little bit of its own environment. And this one's going off into its own world down here. It's a very interesting situation. But this is going to continue to move to the east, northeast over the next hour. All right. So let's time that out. What does that look like? Well, let's put a stop on this and go into our storm track mode. That's distance. We don't need distance. I'm going to try to take this out, moving at 65 miles per hour. And let's time some of this out for you. All right. Victor, Indiana, 10:49. You can see this is a much more largely populated area, 220,000 people out ahead of this. All right. Bloomington, 10:55. It's already storming in Bloomington, but this part of this thunderstorm that's going to be the most intense, 10:55 arrival time. Yellowstone, 10:59. Nashville, 11:09, Brown County. Okay. Fruitdale, 11:12 down there in Brown County. Ogleville, 11:17. Cordray, Sweetwater Lake, if you're watching from Princess Lakes, 11:19, 11:20 in Trafalgar. Okay. A little bit further, Taylorsville, 11:25. Edinburgh, 11:25. Elizabethtown, 11:27. Needham at 11:30. Bogstown at 11:35. Fairland near 11:40. Shelbyville, 11:40 as well. And that's where we'll stop it for now. St. Paul, 11:42 with that particular line of storms there. Zooming in, a nasty return here. That dark purple there is an indication of not only very strong, heavy rainfall, but also the potentially hail as well. So nasty in regards to just insult to injury with that particular storm. We also have the potential for flooding to continue to occur. All right. I'm going to switch over to the Indy radar now. Kind of getting more into Indiana, central Indiana. Wouldn't be shocked, guys, to see an extension of the warning. Probably something like this at some point as this continues to work this way. Extensions of the warnings down south as well. We'll start to see these warnings come this way with time as this stuff starts to progress further to the east and northeast here over the next hour or so. Let me get a check in here on the stream. I'm not able to look at your comments here, but power not on in all of Greenwood. Just looking at these comments, guys. Power back on Smith Valley in Maine. That's good. Can just, again, as I'm letting the radar play, you can kind of see where this all is generally moving. No power in Whiteland. Okay. Power is not on in New Whiteland. Yeah. something impacted the grid pretty significantly somewhere in Western Indiana. In fact, now I'm seeing that there is a report of 2,000 people out in Johnson County. A lot of that coming from Johnson County REMC. Basically, almost all of REMC's power grid is close to being out, or a big chunk of it. Over 2,000 people without power there. Duke Energy, this Southern Indiana, let me go over here and show you this. Southern Indiana, Southwest Indiana is going through big hit here on power right now. Here's the latest Indiana power outage map. In the state right now, 25,000 people are without power, but you can see the other counties starting to slowly report this. But look at this down here in Pike County. Large part of Posey County out, Knox County as well. So we're going to continue to watch this. This will probably continue to trick up here just from this thunderstorm cluster. There's a lot of wind here. That's the thing. There's a lot of wind, a lot of lightning. Even if the wind doesn't knock you out, it's possible that the lightning can affect this as well. Okay, so again, if you're just tuning in, I will go over radar in just a moment. I've been going over it for a second. I'll go over it here in just a minute. I cannot answer your comments all the time. I'll try to peek over at them and glance at them as much as possible. Let me go back to radar, guys. The tornado warnings have been allowed to expire except for the most recently issued one. Let's go back and get a take on this. The most recently issued tornado warning now here again in southwestern Indiana. Where are you? There you are. We'll zoom in down here. Again, if you're near, again, Crane, that's the area we're most concerned about right now. Going into Owensburg, it's not as, the rotation signal is not as defined here. We're a little bit further away from the beam. We're kind of in between radars here, so it makes it a little bit difficult. Nonetheless, regardless, if you're in the path of this, there's certainly a potential for a tornado. But the winds, gosh, look at these winds, 87 miles per hour, just nasty indications. If any of these winds are reaching the ground, you're just going to have a really bad time with power lines and anything that's structurally that can be easily knocked over. We may have power back on. I don't know if we're on backup power or not, but anyways, the indications here from the winds are crazy. So when they're highlighting these damage threats as considerable in the warning descriptions, you know it's nasty. Get my bearings here for a second, guys. And our robot vacuum is running, and I'm sending it home. So sorry. It's driving me nuts. Anyways, a lot of you watching tonight. Is Madison County going to get hit? Yes, you are. You're going to get hit with rain and some storms. I don't think you're going to get hit with anything severe. Okay. I think you're a little bit too far north. So since your comment was in all caps and you were yelling at me, I answered you. Please do not everyone yell at me. That's not fun either. So people are funny. All right, let's see here. Is Johnson County going to get hit? Look at all you guys in caps now. Come on. Yeah, Johnson County is going to get hit. You should probably be seeing lightning to the south and to the west, and it's coming. Right, it's coming. Morgan County is coming, guys. If you see the map right here, I know it's interesting. The map shows the thunderstorms. Okay, so look, here's Morgan County, here's Johnson County, Here's Shelby County, right? Bartholomew County, Brown County, Monroe County. Okay, we can go on and on here, but it's coming. You can see it, like it's coming right at you. So just watch it. All right. This particular part of the storm, I'm concerned as it continues to lift off to the north and east. Definitely has a northeastward component to it. This one right here, I think we need to time. That's probably going to go one of these routes here. That's going to go through the southern half of Monroe County and into Brown County. So let's go ahead and time this out, because I don't like the looks of it as it just kind of continues to lift to the north and east here. Luckily, no warnings have been expanded just yet. I did hear some thunder right there now, just in Bargersville. So it's getting close enough for rain. Let's see, I might need lightning 10 miles to my south, according to my screen over here. Let's time this out here as it lifts. I think it's going to take one of these paths about right here. We're going to call it 60 miles per hour. Again, the worst part of the storm I'm seeing in the state right now. I'm going to time that out for you. All right. Smithville, 1055. Bloomington, 1058. Yellowstone, 1102. Nashville, 1113. Bean Blossom, 1114. Fruitdale, 1116. Let's see here. Sweetwater Lake, 1120. Cordray, 1120. Ogleville, 1120. Princess Lakes, 1124. Columbus, 1128. Taylorsville, 1129. Look at the population out ahead of this particular storm. 184,000 people out ahead of this. So as it especially gets into, all three, Monroe, Brown, Bartholomew, all heavily populated counties. I think Southern Johnson County, you're going to get in on some of this as well. I'm going to switch this real quick to high-res velocity scan, so we can kind of see what we're working with wind-wise. I'm encouraged to see it seems to be losing a little bit of its intensity right now, or its organization. I'm encouraged to see that. I'm going to put this into motion so you guys can see what I'm talking about. It seems to be this end up here starting to wrap up a little bit. There's a little bit of rotation here in the whole part of the MCS itself. Encouraging to see, I think what's trying to happen, I'm going to go down here. It's trying to disconnect. We'll play this radar here. The main heavy, nastiest part of this has kind of dislodged itself right here. All right. And I think the reason for that is, I believe there's a front there that's lifting northward. I'm going to go over here and verify this. And I think what's happening is, let's see, surface analysis. Yeah, there's a little bit of a warm front here. In fact, if I turn that on, you might be able to kind of see what I'm talking about. Let's see. I don't know if I can turn it on here for you or not. Not that it really matters. Well, listen here. I'm just going to show you. There's a front draped, a little area of low pressure. It's probably about right here right now, but there's a front draped about right here. And I think what's happening is the warm air advection and the northward extent of that front lifting northward is carrying the northern piece of this and allowing it to disconnect. This down here is going to disconnect and kind of cold pool, thrive on itself, and it is going to absolutely trash Kentucky and northern Tennessee. So we're kind of seeing the separation, which is a good thing because it's weakening. You're still going to get thunderstorms and wind, no question. Probably a couple more warnings, but it is not nearly as nasty as it was in southwestern Indiana just about 30 minutes ago. Okay, so that is at least encouraging in that regard that we're seeing that. Okay, the disconnect there and a little bit more of a separation in the strongest part of the line now. Okay, we'll go over here. I'm going to refresh the Indiana power outage map. Still looks the same as what I showed it to you just a moment ago. Right now, the state's reporting about 26,000 people without power. The good thing is is that that seems to be largely confined to the southwestern portion of the state right now. Nonetheless, it is certainly impacting a lot of us, it seems. So, real quick question: Who's got power back? I'm curious. Let me come over here and see if you've got your power back on. Comment, or if it was off and it's back on, just comment back on or still off. That will kind of help me understand with um, what we're dealing with here. Looks like we have power back on at my house too. Back on Bargersville, back on Zach, on Center Grove area, Martinsville. Okay, back on Stones Crossing. So we had some recovery there. That is good. Perfect. Okay. All right. Being that radar has been able to calm down here a little bit, we got bombarded with tornado warnings there in Southwest Indiana. Um, I'm going to go at least enjoy the light show as it's coming through the state right now. I do want to make sure that you guys know that if you're not following us on YouTube, I would while you're on here, I would absolutely encourage you to do that. Where this is where we're streaming, just go to YouTube, type BAMWX, and subscribe and follow us. The highest quality streams are going to come from there, and you'll get alerted when we go live right away. So I'm going to watch radar. I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged by the latest trends here of this showing some signs of weakening. As you can see here, and it's trying to disconnect, I believe, from this main line down here. This is nasty down here in Kentucky. If they are out ahead of this, this is going to continue to wreak havoc across a large part of the real estate in Western Kentucky, basically anywhere from Tell City all the way over to Union City, Tennessee. This is a nasty, nasty line of storms. Luckily, here in Indiana, you can see where it got real nasty here as it entered the western and southwestern portion of the state about 10 o'clock this evening. It was really, really organized. Luckily, we've seen some disconnection from the main wave, and that's because the warm front is lifting north. We're still going to be dealing with a lot of lightning, gusty winds, and still can't rule out a severe thunderstorm. No question. No question about that at all. The severity seems to be coming down rather quickly, and I'm encouraged by that, as I know a lot of us don't want to deal with widespread power outages across the state right now. One last check on that for you. Yeah, here is Johnson County reporting 13,300 people without power in Johnson County. It's interesting, something along the line here that connects power to Johnson County. A big supply line must have taken a hit or something. I don't know. I don't know enough about it, but close to 40,000 people without power right now. But again, I am just glad it is not continuing to spread eastward. These derechos, they can really make for a bad situation in power outages. In fact, let's see if we can see what Kentucky's looking like. Ooh, wow. Goodness gracious. Look at the Kentucky map. Holy moly. 134,000 people are without power in Kentucky. Huge chunks of these western and southwestern portions of the county don't have power in Kentucky. So let's be very thankful we are not down there. Good night. Even in eastern Kentucky from earlier, the storms that went through, there's a lot of power outage over there. So that's crazy. That is at least encouraging that we're not as bad off as they are. I mean, I hate to say it, but yeah. So, guys, thank you for tuning in. I'm encouraged by the trends. I'm going to end with radar here. Right now, these are just thunderstorms, gusty winds, and as I said, the main northern part of this is disconnecting. which is going to allow for some, I think, some continued trends with weakening. Okay. So make sure you're following us on YouTube. Thank you guys for tuning in. Encouraging trends here. Pray for the folks in Kentucky where this part disconnects and this storm cluster moves southeast. I'm, they're really going to be dealing with some nasty, nasty weather tonight. They're taking the brunt for us here across the state. So that is certainly at least good for us, not good for them. Pray for those folks. And we'll continue to watch it down there. Again, just real one quick check down there. You can see that line working in across the state. So that's all I have right now. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Again, hey, real quick while you're watching, if you're still on, we've got our 5K coming this weekend, and we are really, really excited about that. Let me see if I have it on my website here. I want to show you this because it's in Franklin, Indiana, and I would love for you all to run in it, to register and come into Franklin, Indiana, and support such a great cause. It's we're fighting childhood brain cancer, so we've helped put this on, and we have raised almost $40,000 for this foundation. These particular folks lost their daughter to childhood brain cancer a few years ago, and we are running a 5K. So you can register by going to the link that's pinned in the comments, and I'll also toss it in here. If you can't make it, you can even come and just make a donation, become a sponsor, or come out and run and walk or whatever. That would be amazing. We'd love to see you all come and support this amazing cause. So stay safe tonight. Enjoy the thunderstorms. If I need to come back on, I will. We'll talk